Hey there, YouTube friends, maskedbandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I always do appreciate it. And welcome back to a Planet Zoo video. You've probably been seeing, if you follow me, some other creators, Savannah and, well, not yet, but Savannah and Zekin and Drew and some others, people that are going to be coming after me, all took part in this awesome little community challenge hosted by Simply Savannah, where we had to design shells for each other, and then we got a different shell from somebody else. So I made the red panda shell that you saw Zekin make a few days ago, and if you didn't, you should check it out. I will try to link that video in the description below. Make sure you go check out Zekin, excellent Planet Zoo creator. And I have a shell here by the creator by the name of Thrive, and their build will be coming out after mine, so that's super exciting. Anyway, so that's why we have a bit of a map here. So the way this works, if you're unfamiliar with the challenge, is I was given this. I cannot change where the paths are. I cannot change anything about the terrain except for the color, except for the texture. I can't change the water. I can't move anything. This is my habitat for the saltwater crocodile, and it is up to me to dress it up and make it look nice. So we're going to do this in the normal way that I do these kinds of videos, with intermittent updates. If you're just seeing me for the first time because you've been following the rest of this little mini cooperative competition thing, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like the video, help get some growth back on the channel here as things continue to progress. So let's move along and see some first steps in what I've done. So you could see immediately some progress right away. Let's talk a little bit about what we did in the order that I did it. First thing, I wanted to get the crocodile in here so I could see how it fits in the area. And it's a nice large habitat for this guy. Love it. What I did first is I used some of these new recolorable rocks from the aquatic pack to try and make this look like an artificial pool here. Like, I wanted this to not feel natural, because from some of the research images I found when looking at what I wanted to do, one of the biggest things I noticed was there was a lip here, like clearly a concrete lip to their pool. And so that was the first thing I wanted to do. Since I couldn't fiddle with the terrain, I decided to just leave it and paint it this rock color. I mean, what I would probably do if this was mine from scratch build is I would carve it out. I would use some blocks and stuff like that, but I didn't mind leaving the texture in there. I did, for realism's sake, add some vents in, or some drains in, to make it look like this is all man-made. And then, of course, I used here this these pieces. These are just the plaster pieces, and made a little segment of, you know, artificial wall here to block everyone's path off, and use this as a sort of fixture to help people from falling in. Little protective barrier there. Obviously, we are going to be adding some more fencing for our humans. But I haven't touched anything here. You can see all I've been doing is kind of blocking out where I want things to go, trying to figure out the best shape, size, and all of that. Made sure that the alligator or the crocodile could indeed get in here, because it does have a hard shelter requirement. So yeah, that was the kind of the thing. Lots of these artificial rocks here, really trying to go for an overgrown, jungly look. Again, some of the inspiration photos I looked at, this was kind of the vibe that they had that I really enjoyed. Little shelves, like little shelves here. What I'm thinking of doing is putting rocks along here and lots of plantings here to kind of hide this building. But I also kind of enjoy this artificial look. I want you to be able to see. I don't want you to forget that this is a zoo, because that is my style, right? It's super. We strive for realistic touches where some parts look kind of, well, man-made, because a zoo is definitely man-made. So this is a very interesting build. This part right here, this overlook, it left me quite the challenge. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, what direction I wanted to take it in. We're going to do an interior, I think, just a nice little area to walk up to. Had to add some. I didn't add any pathing, I don't think. Maybe I did, just to get, I don't remember. But had to throw in the services so we could get the animal in here and stuff like that. We have our keeper somewhere around here, waltzing around. Some simple skylights. You can see the beginnings of this interior here. Looking pretty straightforward. Use some art shapes for roofs. I just want this to be super basic. I think I might even concrete this later on. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what happens. But you can see like the dichotomy between the back of house and the front of house here. So I'm pretty pleased with how it's going so far. It's very interesting given a shell that you can't modify. That's a neat little wrinkle, and it made for a really interesting and fun build. There you go, you get a good view of the guy right there. Let's press along and see what's what's coming next. So maybe it's a little bit harder to see the changes that have happened so far, but I extended the rocks this way to cover up as much of that building as I could without allowing it. See, we have a little bit of poke through here, which I'm not really pleased with. I'd really like to not have that. But you can see we have these like steps here, and that the crocodile can't climb, so we have some plantings in there to make it look a little bit more full. But still, I think that looks totally like, look, fake rocks, like natural looking fake rocks. That's the hardest thing to get in this game, is to make your fake rocks look like they tried really hard to make them look real without actually making them look real. So yeah, but you can see I have fenced out the area here. This is actually an African fence, I believe, which I really like. I don't think I've ever used it before. Oh, there's our keeper. But again, it just helps you separate. Like, come on, don't be stupid. Don't climb the fence. Don't go into the bushes. Don't fall into the gator pond. That would be, or the croc pond. That would not be very smart. So using some of those mulch pieces here to kind of make the beds, and using rocks over here as well now to kind of make this look a little more natural, rather than this breeze block, I think it's called, the breeze block. I didn't want that to carry all the way across, so continued with this fake rock work here. Just pushing it across here. Some of these vines, making it, just kind of giving it that jungle vibe. Trying to figure out, like, this is a very long ramp. Trying to figure out how I was going to do that. I'm pretty okay with it. I think it's nice. We're going to put some rocks behind it, and then we're going to build a structure here for people to go into and learn more about crocodiles and their place in the food chain and in nature. So yeah, not much else has changed here. Still just kind of figuring out all the details, and trying to link these two areas is going to be kind of interesting. So, but yeah, I'm happy with where it's going so far. I might change the path. You can change the path textures, you just can't change where they're placed. So yeah, cool. There goes the keeper scooping up some poop. Obviously, the biggest addition to this little chunk of update here is the structure that you can go into to get a better look at the crocs. I wanted to use those. I really like these wooden planks that came with the aquatic set. And actually, Simply Savannah had a great technique. You can use the wooden, I believe it's the wooden. I'm going to try it right now. I made this before I saw her video, but what you can do is you can go in and you can find there's the log wall, I believe it is. It's way down here if I remember. And what you can do, it would help if I just had the wall pieces selected though, wouldn't it? And you can overlay them with these new walls, and it makes a really nice textural, interesting texture. So there they are. Man, that took long enough. But watch this. Like, if you just look at that. So you get this really nice kind of double. It just adds a little bit of texture to these walls, which is super cool. Super cool trick by Simply Savannah. So really, that's really cool. I'm going to be using that in the future, I think. So, but let's take a look at the structure. We have our archer in there, just trying to use some pieces. I was really inspired. I was watching a lot of S. Dan Wolf and Beyond Drew streaming that Bayou series that they're doing. And I love that. I'm all into that series. And I was just trying to steal some of the techniques, because S. Dan Wolf is such a fast builder, and he makes such unique things, such good choices. I kind of tried to steal some of his ideas, like this little piece down here. I was super inspired by S. Dan as I was building all this, and Drew too. Both excellent creators. See, we're missing some detail up here. Need to do some stuff there to separate it. But I like the two tones of the wood that's closer to the roofline versus the standard, faded gray. And now it's just empty in here. But you can see we're adding a little bit of detail to make it look a little bit more realistic. And you get this nice view you can see through. There he is, probably taking a poop in the mud because that's what he does. Got our archer for scale by Mr. Domez. And yeah, what I really like is that if you look out this window, you can almost see back there. But for the most part, your view of the backstage area is blocked. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. It's a neat little byproduct. It wasn't necessarily intentional, though. So, and now the biggest issue I'm going to have is what to do with this back here. It's so far away from the exhibit. I mean, it makes sense to like have some stuff out here. Obviously, we have to. We've got some path. My thought was I have to theme all the path areas at least. So, yeah, using some of these big rainbow eucalyptus trees. I love these huge trees. I was in Planet Coaster recently, and just the lack of foliage really is so noticeable in that game compared to this one. So, using some of the Indian pieces just because they're simple and they have that nice wooden texture that I wanted. But yeah, this is the beginnings of our interior of the overlook area here. Let's see how it develops further. So here's what I came up with on the back side of this building. I wanted it to be fairly exposed, or at least a nice big entrance area. So at first I was going to have it all open, but I didn't like the way that was vibing. So I went ahead and I closed it all off. Lots of wood trim, lots of wood details here. The cute little sign, the Croc House. I don't know, I just think that's going to be funny. I don't know, I like it. Threw a bunch of little random details over here, mostly from the Indian set, to kind of make it look a little bit, just to theme it up a little bit. It doesn't take much to add a lot of character, just a little bit of bits and bobs. And that's not something I do very often, and I should probably do more of it. But yeah, this is the other entrance to the Gator exhibit. You can enter this way. So let's take a walk in here, and I've got all these lovely things from lovely workshop creators. I believe some of these are from Pond Shrimp, but you can see here we've got our whole exhibit about, maybe about ecosystems of the crocodile, of the saltwater crocodile. We've got the in-game thing. Over here, we've got some more info about crocodiles. Here's some how reptiles and amphibians work together. I don't know, make it up. Make up your mind. Whatever you think should be in here. But I was just watching Drew live stream today. He was talking about how zoos have signs everywhere. And that is one of the things that's really missing in what Frontier has provided us. A significant lack of other signs. I guess they gave us the tools to make our own, but yeah, like you can see here, all this stuff in here makes it feel so much better now. Just different, and they don't have to say anything, but you get the feeling that this is actually a place to come in and read about and learn about the animal that you're watching walk around and swim around. So yeah, this is the interior as it is completed, and now let's go ahead and take a little tour of the whole thing. All right, so here we are at the back end of the exhibit, and you can see the door there, the staff door, has the rock texture. I think one of the first people I saw do that was Ruble Trillions. Now that was so brilliant. That is so zoo. Also, too often at the zoo you see doors that are the same texture as the fences and gates and whatever the walls are that are made out of. It's really cool. They try to hide the doors, and all you can really see are the outlines. So that's an easy trick to really make your rock work look fake. Stick a door in it. So, but yeah, heavy foliage here. No protective fencing here, just because the rocks are pretty high. I don't see a reason why. I did not theme behind it. I figured it would actually be easier to put into the zoo this way. I kind of left it open, trying to really obscure your view here until you get to this area here. Like, this is like the official area, the official place to come and look at the crocodile. We have our little seating area. We have our billboard over there. And if I just sneak up here, you start to see in. And I like that it's kind of hard to see in there from Tegid Cam. Like, there are places where you get a really good view, like right here. I really like this. I think this looks really, really nice. I actually don't think I've ever seen this from Tegid Cam. But you get a good view of the habitat. You can't really see the backstage all that well. And if the crocodile decides to go over here, it's much more obscured, this little corner part of the pond, which I think is really cool. It's nice to have those places for the animals to go and just kind of chill out of peep view. So yeah, this is just a little look here. We're going to take a mini tour of our gator habitat. And we got our meat enrichment item back there. We got a place for him to rub. And he's got this wallowing hole. So just a couple benches here and there for people to chill. I really like the way this fence turned out. The metal fencing, the protective barrier. I think that helps, again, make it feel really zoo-like. So hopefully you are excited by it too. Hopefully you think it turned out as well as I think it turned out. And then once we get to this side, lots more foliage here again to block your way. Make sure you're not going places you shouldn't. And then we have the nice long pathway up here. A couple more things I want to show you. I do like to add some backstage. This is probably super unrealistic, but this is my little backstage area for our crocodile. We have an access point here to get into the exterior of the habitat. Like if you needed to bring a little truck in, this might not be tall enough, but if you needed to bring in like wheelbarrows of sand and stuff, you would probably come through this way. And theoretically, there is a door here that would close. You could keep the crocodile indoors, shut the doors, open this side up, let the keeper do their biz, and then head back out. And meanwhile, if you needed to get the crocodile like to the vet or something, you can close their habitat door and you could open this one and then they could head out that way. So that was kind of my thought, just a little bit of access to kind of give the idea of a backstage here. So that's going to about do it for this little one-off build. A big shout out, big thanks to Simply Savannah as well as Thrive for this awesome shell. Yes, thank you to Savannah for the awesome idea and for the invite. It was nice to be a part of this little group, and I've really enjoyed seeing the results and can't wait to see what else is in store for this collaboration, and as well as the live stream on Simply Savannah's channel once she puts the whole zoo together. Excited to see how that's going to look. If you enjoyed this build and you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button for me, and don't forget to subscribe. And with all that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever, and I will see all of you for the next episode of Planet Zoo. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.